What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another day in a car mechanic simulator with me, the virtual mechanic, and today's project, the Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 7. This one is going to be a lot of fun. There is a few engine swap options. Well, there is an engine swap option, should I say. That you've got the single overhead cam 4x4 or the double overhead cam at 4x4, both inline 4 engines. We've already got the double overhead cam in there, which is the slightly faster engine or slightly more powerful. So that is the one we're going to stick with on this today. It is very dusty, so first up, we need to get this one over to the car wash to get it cleaned. But just before that, let's see what we're going to do with this one today. Now, I've had a few looks around the Steam Workshop and things like that, and what I think we're going to go for today with this Evo is try and make Brian O'Connor's car from Too Fast, Too Furious. I believe I already have the livery. There are a few things that say they are. For example, I know it's that hood to go on it. You've got Brian O'Connor's lights there. There's a few bits that say what they are. I think it's that side skirt, but I'm not 100% sure. But there's a few bits that say whether they are, like that one there. So hopefully we should be able to recreate that. Hopefully the livery sits in the workshop. I will go and find out a bit later on. But let's get this one over to the car wash. Get it cleaned up because it is incredibly dusty. I don't think I've ever seen one covered quite so bad. So let's go get it cleaned. Here we are then at the car wash. Let's get this car cleaned up. I'm pretty confident it's red underneath. I've seen some at the back there. Definitely not the colour it's staying. That's pretty bad. Look at the rust all over that. That's very bad condition. Never mind though. We're going to get all this repaired and upgraded today. Let's get this interior done. And then we'll go get that engine ripped out and we'll start stripping this car down. Get the car up in the air. Let's have a look for the oil pan. There is an oil pan there, so let's get that drained straight away. Straight into that. Off you go. Lovely, 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 jubbly. Let's get you put away, and let's get some drive shafts and stuff ripped off. Now, this is four-wheel drive, so I know I'm going to have to get these front wheels off and the front axles off. So I'll crack on with that quickly. There we go. Wheels and drive axles off. Let's get this main drive shaft off now. A few rusty bolts on there. One at that end. Is there another one at this end? Yes, of course there is. Off you come with that drive shaft. Then we need the front drive shaft off. And then hopefully I can grab the starter from the engine bay. Of course I can grab the starter from the engine bay. I'm going to bring that down, get the starter out, and then we'll get that engine ripped out. I'll see you in a moment. Starter's out. Cars are back in the air so we can grab that gearbox hiding just there. Out you come. Nice and easy. Should we grab that front exhaust section as well? It doesn't quite match up there, but that's not too bad. Let's get you back on the ground and let's get that engine ripped out. Fingers crossed it comes out nice and easy. There we go. Just had to wait a moment. Nice. That did come out nice and easy. That is what I wanted to see. Now I've got a few liquids to drain in this engine bay, so I'm going to crack on with that now. And then we'll get, well, the engine bay stripped, I suppose. Additional tools, drain tool. There it is. Let's get all of this drained. I'll meet you back here in a moment. All the liquids are drained. Absolutely fantastic. Let's start getting this car stripped down. Nice and easy. Although it's all in bad condition, it does look like we do have pretty much everything for this engine bay in place, which is pretty good. So I'll get the rest of this engine bay stripped now, and then we'll get the suspension off next. I'll see you under the car in just a couple of moments. Back up in the air again. Let's have a look at this suspension. Single lower arm, central cross member with one shock. Do have to get all these intercoolers out. Actually, I might grab these while I'm here so that I don't forget. Looking pretty tasty at the front there. What have we got going on at the back? Let's get this rear wheel out. He says. There we go. Come on. There we go. What have we got here? And it is all of the rubber bushings. That exhaust is pretty tight. Let's get that out while we're here. It's very, very tight. Anyway, looking pretty tasty though. It does look like we've still got most of it here. So that's pretty good. Missing a bushing just there. But apart from that, it looks all in place. So I'm going to crack on. I'm going to get all of this stripped now. Next up, we'll get the bodywork stripped off. And then we'll get that engine stripped down. I'll see you back here in just a couple of moments. Everything stripped off the Evo 7. Just the bodywork to go. So let's crack on and see what I'm going to miss. Because I normally miss something. I know what I certainly shouldn't be missing today, and that is that big blue fender on the other side. Should never have missed that. Well, I should never miss that, but I do occasionally miss things like that. I think that is everything. I've already checked the interior. They're part of the framework, so that's okay. That does appear to be everything off. I've got my battery on charge there, the engine on the stand. Let's have a look what we've got going on with this engine today then. So this is the inline 4 double overhead cam 4x4 engine, being a 4x4 car. Let's get it all stripped down and see if there's anything fancy or peculiar inside this engine. I'm assuming this is either going to be a timing belt or a timing chain, but let's see. Just a serpentine belt, but with a tensioner. So I was wrong. Ignore me. Don't take any car advice from me. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Double overhead cam, obviously. Camshaft caps, spark plugs, all of that going on in there. With the rear timing cover, that's where the timing chain is. Never mind. Obviously, this is almost identical to the engine I've done very recently. So I will just going to leave this dismantling video section here. And I'll meet you back by the car when we get that frame sorted out, get all the bodywork back on, and then get it over to the paint shop. Hopefully, fingers crossed, I can get that beautiful green livery from the Too Fast, Too Furious films. I'll meet you over there in just a few moments. The Evo 7 is fully stripped and ready to start going back together. Let's get it started off by getting this frame sorted out. How much is this going to be? Only 1,300. That doesn't bode well for the sale price of this car. Hopefully, it will be a bit better than I'm expecting. Now, just before I start throwing all these body panels back on this car, I have bought everything that I need, but I just want to quickly show you the wonderful job that Payne has done here. Sort of labeling things, the RS, the C West, Motorsport editions and all of that, including the Brian O'Connor variants, whatever you want to call them. You know, I've sort of had a look around and seen a few bits that I want to get. For example, I believe it's these front fenders. I believe it is this hood with the side scoop there from what I've looked around the pictures. Some bits say, for example, that's Brian O'Connor's only. Nice sort of tail light fitting in there. I haven't got the exact Brian O'Connor model. I'm just running on a base Evo 7 to make a replica. But it still looks like it's coming together quite well. Obviously, Brian O'Connor's trunk, whatever you want to call that piece there with the spoiler on it. Looking pretty good. It is well listed there by Payne or Deadbob777, whichever one you want. This is available on the workshop with loads of different models to come and have a play around with. Get yourself onto the Steam Workshop, get it downloaded, and have a bit of fun yourself. I've already bought all my body panels, so I'm going to start throwing all of this back on. I did buy all new. I didn't bother repairing anything. Oh, apart from the fin, and I'll explain that in just... In fact, I'll go do that now. So I have two fins. They're both, if I could get it, they're both exactly the same. You got Brian O'Connor's and not. So the basic one just sits on there, does nothing else. But the Brian O'Connor one, when I can get to it, taking its time, gives you the blue underglow. Now, it doesn't look so great on there, but I'm sure when the car's on the ground and the wheels are on, it looks a lot better. The only reason I'm taking it off at the moment is because I don't want that underglow bit while I'm working. I'll see what it looks like a bit later on. But I'm going to get on and get the rest of these panels all back together. I'll meet you when this is finished, just before we head over to the paint shop, where hopefully that lovely, lovely greenish livery will be there. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. I'll meet you in just a few moments. Here she is then, all back together. Apart from the interior, let's just throw that in very quickly. I did just stick with the seats and the wheel that came with it. No particular reason. I mean, they're quite racing style seats, so I quite like them anyway. But last thing to go on is the license plate. Now, obviously, I know Paul Walker's one didn't have the front license plate on there. It was missing. But that is the correct license plate number. Bit disappointing, because when I was buying this showed up green, like that green down there. When you put it on, it goes black. The only difference between this and the plate in the film is the Florida plate has a peach in the middle in the film. That's the only difference. Obviously, in the writing, slightly different, but it's pretty cool. Got the matching plates with the matching text. Next up, though, let's head over to the paint shop and hope that livery goes on this car really nicely. I'll see you there in just a second. Here it is then, all painted, looking fantastic. Not an exact match, but that's probably more to do with me with a gloss coat instead of a metallic or whichever one. I quite like how it's come out. It looks really nice. I have matched this green paint as best I can. In the boot here, or the trunk. That's all whatever the base colour of the car is. And you can see it's very similarly matched. That's how close I've managed to match it. And one thing I would like to point out is that these lights don't fit in this model. Nothing to do with Payne. entirely my fault. This body style is not the Brian O'Connor body style. This is the standard Evo 7, which is quite ironic because these lights here from this company for the film didn't actually fit in the original car. They had to custom make these back fenders, back quarter panels here to fit the lights in because this particular company wanted the lights in the film so much that the production team had to make them fit into the car because they didn't actually make them for the Evo 7. I think they made them for the Evo 8 or something like that, so they shouldn't really fit in. Quite ironic that mine don't fit as well. Again, if you buy the config from the car itself, if you download the car itself from the workshop and you get the Brian O'Connor model, I'm sure they will fit in much more nicely than I've made them fit in there. But I'm just going for a replica with a bit of originality. I love this color. For the suspension, I'm going to go for some greens and blues. We're going to have a red brake calipers like the car did in the film. There's that big exhaust sticking all out. And I'm unsure what we're going to do for the engine yet because I'm sure it's got the plastic black cover on it that does not paint in any color nicely. So I will see what we're going to do for that when I get there. But next up, let's get that suspension on. I will meet you back by the lifter in just a moment when I've painted a few bits. I have painted everything. I'm not sure how it's turned out, but let's have a look at the actual suspension. So the shocks, I've gone for the body striped blue, and the springs I've gone for a red. Hopefully that comes out the same as the brake calipers, but we will see. For the rest of it, it is all green-ish. I'm hoping this looks good. I haven't put any of it together yet, so let's have a look together. That's not looking horrible. I mean, it doesn't look great, but we'll see when it's all together. Then I'm going to step away and see what it looks like. I'll grab the bushings and everything in a minute. I just want to get all the coloured stuff in here. See, now I'm really worried that these are going to look massively out of place because everything else is in the green that is meant to be a body matched green. But let me just get to the brake calipers. We'll step back. We'll have a look. We'll see what it looks like. And I may end up going back and repainting and changing everything. We will see. Let's get to the brake calipers. Here it comes. These are in red. Hopefully, they're supposed to be chrome red, the same as the springs. It's not too far off. I'm quite happy with that. I'm more concerned about how this green looks. So I'm just going to step out. That's not looking too bad. It does look like it's part of the car. Pretty nice at the front there. Let's just go back to the other side. Does that blue shock look out of place? Not really, coming off that stripe. Actually looks pretty good. Let's have a look at the back end. Now, again, you can pretty much imagine most of this is in the green. So let's just start getting a few pieces on and see what this looks like when we step away from the vehicle. Again, I'll come back and grab all the bushings and everything in just a few moments. I just want to get everything that is coloured on it to see how it looks. Probably found out I haven't got all the bushings I need as well. We'll find out that now. These shocks are in blue back here. And then obviously the spring itself is same as the front. The spring is in red, but the spring mounting plate, whatever you want to call that, that is in the green. Spring cap in the blue. Sorry, spring cap, spring mounting plate. Looking not too bad. Let's just get that brake caliper on. Step away from the vehicle again and see what it looks like. Come on, little car, you can do it. I will. Come on. On you go, and then on you go. That's pretty much the base of it. So let's step back. Again, that blue shot coming through there doesn't look too out of place. The green is sort of body matched. It probably could be a little lighter if I'm being honest. It looks better at the front than it does at the back. Now, see, now they all look too dark. Not too far off, though. I'm quite happy with it. Obviously, when I show you the pictures later, you'll probably see the difference. But it's not far off. So I'm going to crack on. I'm going to get the rest of this all finished up now. And then we're going to get that engine bay sorted before we go and get that engine rebuilt, ready to drop in this lovely, lovely Evo 7 replica to a wonderful man, Mr. Paul Walker. May you rest in parts. Got my battery off charge. Let's get this engine bay sorted. In fact, before that, let's have a look at this suspension. Mostly in the green, but with some splashes of that blue and red. Looking really nice. I've done the fuel tank in a blue as well. Quite happy with how it's turned out. I've also got my intercoolers in, all in place, all the exhausts in place, ready to go. But let's get this engine bay sorted. Let's go with that big old radiator straight away. And then let's just start throwing a few of these bits back in. I hope I've remembered to pick up everything. I know I did remember to pick up my battery this time. Good, good. I'm just going to jump to a few bits. This fuse box is blue, and this air filter is also blue. Just to throw a bit of colour in here, as well as on the underside. I have no greens on the engine bay, or the engine bay, should I say. Lovely chromed red clips there to match the suspension. No greens in the engine today. Some reds. I think that's predominantly it, actually. Reds in the engine bay. In the engine. Getting myself confused now. Which will be pretty cool. Just this fuse box to go here. Oh, no, and the ABS module. I do know what I'm doing, I promise. But next up, I will be building that wonderful engine. Does that look silly with the blues in it? Especially when the engine's going to have a few red bits on it. We will see. I'm not... No, I like it so far. I do like it. We'll see what happens with the engine. Maybe I'll take the reds out of the engine and replace it with blues. But we will see. Let's go and get that engine built. Ready to go. Haven't started anything yet. The block itself, I don't even know what colour's on this block anymore. I fiddled around with it so much trying to make it lighter. It just doesn't work. Anyway, I'm going to crack on. Let's get the base of this done. And then once we've got a few of the bits on it, we'll come back to you guys and let you see what's going on. See you in a moment. Let's have a look what we've got so far then. Obviously, the engine head is painted in a chrome red, but only a few bits show up. Let's just take that off. Mostly on the inside. Looking pretty nice. No other colours on apart from in the fuel injectors here. They are painted in a chrome red, but they've got a red top anyway, so it's hard to tell. But let's throw a few more bits on and see what it looks like. I painted this water pump in the chrome red, completely forgetting that it is entirely covered by a cover here. So let's just get that on and cover all of that lovely paint that I just did up. So never mind. Wonderful. We will get this crankshaft pulley on. This power steering pump is also painted in the chrome red. Let's just get this throttle on, which is also in this lovely, lovely red. These bits have come out really nicely. I'm happy with how they look. Just that engine head cover to go. And that roller. Let's just have a look. Now, this never paints very well. It's because it's the black plastic. The kind of cover doesn't go on it too well. So I did fiddle around with the colours a little bit. And actually, it's not come out half as bad as I thought it would have. These, I'm hoping, are the red-topped ones. They are, because they can't be painted. And that is not looking too bad. I'm actually quite happy with how that looks. I kind of wish this was a little darker, the same as this, but it doesn't paint, and I wanted the reds on it, so that makes sense. Apart from that, it's looking pretty good. I'm quite happy with how it turned out. Hopefully it won't look too bad in the engine bay. Let's get it off the stand, and let's go find out. Let's go and see what it looks like in the engine bay. Hopefully this looks all right, and I forgot my crane again, so let's go and grab that. Move you over. Let's get you dropped in and see how we look. I'm a bit worried about this. Yeah, maybe these blues need... No, do you know what? I quite like it. A bit of blue, a bit of red in there. We've got red on the brake calipers as well, and a bit of red underneath. Quite happy with how it turned out. It's not looking too bad. I wish the cover was a little bit more of a vibrant red than this dark red up here. But apart from that, it's looking pretty sweet. I'm going to get the gearbox and drive shafts and stuff back in, and then we'll get the wheels done, and we'll be outside in the sun, ready to have a look at this lovely, lovely Paul Walker / Brian O'Connor Too Fast, Too Furious Evo 7. Amazing. Here we are then with my finished replica of the Brian O'Connor Too Fast, Too Furious Evo 7. Fantastic car. I've had a lot of fun working on this. Very well done to Payne or DeadBob777, however you know him on the Steam Workshop. He's done an excellent job with this. Now, this isn't officially the Brian O'Connor model. I've just made it look like the Brian O'Connor model. The rear lights don't fit in properly, as they didn't when they made the car for the film. They had to specially make them. I was just checking it didn't overlap inside the boot there. It seems absolutely fine. For the wheels on this, I've gone for as much originality as I could. I sort of did a few picture researches, and this was the best I could come up with. These are the rims 22A. I've picked them as a 20-inch rim with a 215 width and a 35 profile on there. Not looking too bad. The car itself is a little bit higher than Brian O'Connor's. Only a little bit, though, so it doesn't look too out of place. And that rim size is not what the film lists. I think it lists an 18-inch rim with a 40 profile and a 235 width or something like that. But it's not how I could get it to work. It didn't look right, so I went up a couple of sizes. Found my own way of getting it to work. The windows aren't tinted, or they are tinted. Only ever so slightly. It's a 30 all the way round on this car. All the images from the film car, I couldn't see any tinting on the windows, so I've just I tinted it a bit, but not too much. And that engine's looking pretty cool. This is not how the engine looked in the film. These were not blue. These are all blacked. But that engine does have a red cover on it. It's a slightly different red to what I've got there. But it's looking pretty close as a film replica. What is that? I thought that was a bunny rabbit on the inside then. For a film replica, it's pretty good. But let's jump in this one and see what she sounds like. Very spaceshipy. I'm liking that. That turbo whistle at the top end is beautiful. And it does sound very mean at the top ends of the revs there. Pretty good. Let's get it on the dyno and see what she can do. Here we are then on the dyno. 276 starting horsepower from the Evo 7. We've added performance parts today. How much have we managed to squeeze out of it? Hopefully quite a bit. An additional 214 horsepower, 78%. That's incredible. Bumping it up to 490 horsepower in total. Bear in mind, this is four-wheel drive, so it should be pretty quick down the track. Speaking of, let's head over there and see what we can get out of her. Here we are, Brian O'Connor's Replica Evo 7 from Too Fast, Too Furious. Four-wheel drive, no slicks. Can we keep it straight? Let's go. What speed are we going to get out of this lovely Evo 7 today? I'm hoping something pretty good, but you never know. Come on, little Evo. I mean, we're smashing it already. Up towards the 300 kilometers an hour. There it is. Where are we going to end up, though? I'd like to end up at least near the 400 kilometer mark. That would be what I'm aiming for. Will we get there, though? There's 350. Come on, little Evo, you can do it. No, you can't. 362 kilometers an hour from the Evo 7. Pretty good, though. Here we are then with the finished Replica Evo 7. Too Fast, Too Furious, Brian O'Connor, Paul Walker Evo 7. It is a beautiful. May he rest in peace. I miss that man incredibly. One of the greatest actors of all time and a genuine car lover. He will be missed. Anyway, back to this car today. 362 kilometers an hour. Not the fastest. Does put it 37th in our leaderboard out of 65, so that's not too bad. Just below mid-table. Quite happy with that, and just all the detailing on this. Payne has done an excellent job modding this one in. It looks fantastic. I'm not 100% sure who did this livery. I will find out, and I will credit them in the description below, along with a link to grab the livery, as well as a link to grab the car if you want to do that. I definitely think you should give your own version of this. There is an actual Paul Walker variant of this, I believe, or a Brian O'Connor variant, should I say. Not what I have here. I just have the standard 7, which I've made. I'm assuming that the Paul Walker one's a little bit lower and things like that. Still looks really good, though. My little replica, I am very, very happy with it. Now, I bought this car for $16,550. I didn't do too bad on it. I didn't get too ripped off. I have spent $51,642 modifying this today. Bearing in mind, I did buy a couple of the doors because there's like an RS door and another door as well, just to see which one matched. It was just the basic doors for this model for me. I didn't have to go anything too over the top. But I did buy a few extra bits, as well as I do still have the optional aerial, which gives you the Brian O'Connor aerial, which gives you the underglow. I'm not overly fussed about the underglow. I'm gonna I'll leave it on to sell it just because it's there. There it is with the underglow. Not my cup of tea, but it is what it is. Well done to Payne for putting it in there, though. Good effort. Anyway, so yeah, we spent $68,192 completely doing this car, buying the car, everything for this car today. But the big question is, how much can we actually sell it for? A lot of miles on it, changed rims, or a lot of kilometers on it, and now with 490 horsepower instead of the factory 276. How much is it worth though? 130,147. In fact, that's slightly lower. If I take this one off, I've obviously already worked out my statistics. If I can get it, if I put the original one back on, and then have a look at that, it's 130,687. So I'm going to sell it with the aerial on, then I'm going to sell the aerial separately, the Brian O'Connor aerial separately, because that gives me slightly more profit and works with what I worked out. So if we take off what we spent, 68,000, leaves our profit at 62,495. If we'd have kept the other one on, probably would have been about 62,000 flat, but we're keeping it with that. Thank you very much. This has been a wonderful car. I've definitely enjoyed making this. Cross-referencing pictures, trying to find the right rims. Was a lot of fun, but it is time to say goodbye. Off you go. What do we have next, though? Let's have a look. Now, you may recognize this as being the Salem... Oh, that was the wrong button. There we go. The Salem 1500. This is my own variant of it. It is slammed to the ground, as you can see. It's pretty low. I've also... The bumpers aren't missing. They are removed entirely because I like the look, which does also mean no license plates on this one. But I really enjoy what I've done with that. I think I've got the Jaguar F-Type exhaust on there. Sits quite far back, but it looks pretty smart. But the one thing is when you lower one of the trucks, you get all the suspension showing up through the bed. So I just threw my fuel tanks in the back there, flipped them upside down on top of it so that you can't see it. And to be honest, they're pretty well placed. They don't look too out of place there. Kind of place you would have one if it was like a drag truck. Pretty sweet though. That's it for the next video. Oh yeah, and also it's four-wheel drive with a supercharged V8 in it. That's yeah, that's what we're going with for the next video. We're gonna have a lot of fun with this one. This is my own variant. I will be keeping this model, and I mean, I really like how it looks at the moment. I'm quite tempted just to fix all of the like running components and leave it just in this rusty state, put some new windows in it, because I actually really like it. So I think that may be what we do with this for my first one ever, because, well, I'm not selling it, so I might do. But you will have to tune in next time to see if that is what we do. I do hope you have enjoyed today's video. It has been a lot of fun. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.